There is something which I keep on saying on this platform, and I'm going to repeat it again, that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve certain political objectives. And the question which Kenyans are asking, why did President Uhuru Kenyatta kick out Mwangi Kiunjuri from the Ministry of Agriculture and replaced him with Peter Munya? And why is it that Peter Munya was being elevated at a time when the deputy president was accusing him of leading a team of cabinet secretaries to assassinate him? Why was that happening? So today I want us to look at why I strongly believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta is basically grooming Peter Munya. But before we do that, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button. Now back to the main issue. Is President Uhuru Kenyatta grooming Peter Munya? Is he grooming Munya? For us to understand that, I want us to go back a bit. Between 2016 and 2017, Peter Munya was a very powerful leader from Central Kenya region or from the Mount Kenya region. But he was not part of Jubilee Party. Peter Munya had his own political party called PNU Party. And for those who might have forgotten, PNU Party is the party which former President Mwai Kibaki used to win the presidency in 2007. That PNU party had its story in Central Kenya. And when Peter Munya contested with it, he managed to become the first governor for Meru. But between 2016 and 2017, because the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto had figured out that he wanted to become the president in 2022, he figured out that there are certain politicians from Central Kenya whom he had to deal with. One of them was Kabogo, who was also going to serve second term. The other one was Peter Munya. And the other one, there were several of them. But those two stood out. And we all remember that after that particular election, Peter Munya defected to NASA because he believed he was rigged out. And this is what Peter Munya said at that time.
Today, I have joined the NASA family and I'm accompanied by officials of PNU. One reason is that I want to be on the right side of history. Yeah. And the right side of history today in Kenya, we want to put behind us the history of stealing elections. We want to put Kenya on a democratic path that will ensure our country is stable, our country prospers, our citizens are happy, and our citizens prosper. And our citizens cannot prosper and our country cannot grow if the bedrock of democracy, which is ensuring that citizens exercise their right to vote freely and fairly, is interfered with every election year. My election was stolen when the election of Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka was being stolen. I was also cannon founder in that fight. And therefore, I cannot join those who stole my election and be working with them.
But despite claims of being rigged out, President Uhuru Kenyatta still went ahead and picked Peter Munya as a cabinet secretary. What was the objective of the president doing that? Of course, we understand that during that time, they were desperate. But I'm not sure whether they were so much desperate to an extent of having to appoint Peter Munya, a person who was engaged in bitter political contest with the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But it didn't end there. After everything was settled and the handshake, we all remember that Peter Munya was accused by by the Deputy President of being the leader of cabinet secretaries who were planning ills against him. And most Kenyans would have expected that Peter Munya was going to be demoted. But when a cabinet reshuffle was effected, President Uhuru Kenyatta effectively elevated Peter Munya. So what does that tell you? Is there something special about Peter Munya that President Uhuru Kenyatta understands, which most of us don't understand? Is there something special about him? Those are the questions which we need to answer. And to answer all those questions, in my view, I think President Uhuru Kenyatta is strategically and cleverly propelling Peter Munya to succeed him. And I'm saying this because of the following. Number one, Mwangi Kiunjuri's firing from the cabinet and the elevation of Peter Munya to the Ministry of Agriculture is basically meant to endow Peter Munya to the electorate or to the people of Central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region. Because in Mount Kenya region, there's nothing they value more than agriculture. And by the time President Uhuru Kenyatta was appointing Mwangi Kiunjuri as the Minister for Agriculture, for those who might not have known, he was doing that because by that time, the president had Mwangi Kiunjuri in his mind as a possible successor. So when Mwangi Kiunjuri started working very closely with the DP, and the president fell out with the DP, Mwangi Kiunjuri had to be fired. But who was brought on board? Peter Munya. And if you are keen, the moment Peter Munya was brought on board, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced several other things, several waivers to the coffee, to the tea, which directly affected the people of Central Kenya. Like even the other day when he was in Munya irrigation scheme, how much did he allocate to the people of Munya? Basically through the Ministry of Agriculture. So I think by the move to appoint Peter Munya as a Minister of Agriculture, President Uhuru Kenyatta is trying to endow Peter Munya to the people on the ground there. And that's why when Peter Munya took over, the narrative and the propaganda and the noise about the locust has disappeared. Why? Peter Munya has done nothing about it, but it has disappeared. The coffee farmers, their debts had been waived. What next do you, So Peter Munya is actually succeeding where Mwangi Kiunjuri failed. So what in effect they are trying to do, they're trying to portray Mwangi Kiunjuri, who is a competitor of Peter Munya, as someone who has failed. But Peter Munya is being helped to ensure that he succeeds. That's number one. Number two has to do with Mwangi Kiunjuri and Ferdinand Waititu's firing. Was the president trying to eliminate potential competitor to Peter Munya? Was he trying to do that? Because in politics, there's no way these two guys can just go like that. Because there was high chance of William Ruto appointing Ferdinand Waititu as his running mate. If that did not happen, there was a possibility of Mwangi Kiunjuri, even if not appointed the running mate of the deputy president, there was the high chance of Mwangi Kiunjuri using the docket to entrench himself fully in Central Kenya. But by firing him, what the president has done, he has actually deflated Mwangi Kiunjuri. So today, Mwangi Kiunjuri doesn't have that platform as the Minister for Agriculture. He can only work outside as a former cabinet secretary. So was there a chance that the president was actually trying to elevate Peter Munya? Because after doing all this, Peter Munya has been elevated. And in the last few days, Peter Munya has received a lot of prominence within Central Kenya politics. The other thing which tells me the president could be grooming this guy is the fact that the president has been to Central Kenya in the last few days. But who has been accompanying him? Who has been the constant figure around him? Peter Munya. What is that supposed to achieve? Because in politics, those are well planned. What message is the president saying? What message is he sending out there? Basically, by constantly appearing with Peter Munya, is sending a message to these people that you guys start considering this guy. That's how politics is played in Kenya and the world over. So basically, the presence of Peter Munya around President Uhuru Kenyatta is supposed to confirm to everybody that Peter Munya is currently the senior most political figure in government after President Uhuru Kenyatta. That's the reality. Otherwise, their cabinet secretaries who are serving second term from central Kenya, but they're not featuring anywhere. When the president wanted people to go to central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region to talk to the locals about the issues, Peter Munya was tasked with that. And he called several meetings at Hotel Lamada. Why was the president doing that? Why was he being tasked that? And again, you remember, Peter Munya has always been very confident that those meetings were convened. He was asked to convene by none other than the president. So basically, the president is giving Peter Munya the right signal. He's giving people the right signal that is with Peter Munya. Number 4, I think there's also this issue of the Kikuyu dominance. Kikuyu dominance in Mount Kenya politics. So I think the president wants to kind of sort it out. Because if it's not sorted out, the Meru people will feel, okay, next time they won't support their brothers from the Kikuyu. And like that. And to solve that, because if you look at Mwangi Kiunjuri, he's a Kikuyu. Waititu, a Kikuyu. Look at Anne Waiguru, a Kikuyu. Look at the other possible guy, Kanini Kega, a Kikuyu. So that means the president is trying to solve that particular problem. And remember, the president has always been very clear that he wants to correct past mistakes in this country. And that's one of the past mistakes that the president, I believe, is trying to correct in central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region. So basically, because Peter Munya comes from Meru, that will give him an edge. And the president is basically elevating a Meru to succeed him. And lastly, I think if you are keen, the moment Peter Munya was given the docket of agriculture, funds were easily availed to him. This was not the case when Mwangi Kiunjuri was the minister. The major problem Mwangi Kiunjuri had when he was the minister for agriculture was that he was being frustrated. He could not get fundings at the right time. When he tried to import maize, scandalized. The locust, when it came, I don't know whether he received funds. But Peter Munya came, funds were availed. And we just saw recently funds being availed in Munya. So in short, President Uhuru Kenyatta is making work easier for Peter Munya as his potential successor in central Kenya. I don't know what you think, but from where I also stand, I think Peter Munya, of all these other guys standing from central Kenya, has a better chance. Because number one, Peter Munya managed a political party called PNU. He managed that party as a governor. And 2, he performed as a governor in Meru. As a matter of fact, today the people of Meru believe that Peter Munya was better than Kiraitu. Number 3, Peter Munya has the reform credentials. He's a guy who has fought for the liberations in this country. When you talk of reforms in this country, you can't fail to find the name of Peter Munya as a young lawyer fighting in the streets for change to come to Kenya. So that also gives him an advantage. And lastly, I think Peter Munya can be easily accepted across the political divide. Because remember, this is a guy who at one point joined NASA. This guy was in NAC when NAC was the real NAC. Yeah? So basically he has friends across the political divide. I don't know what you think, but something tells me that President Uhuru Kenyatta is favoring Peter Munya to succeed him in central Kenya. But because politics is dynamic, it keeps on changing. For example, nobody knew that the deputy president and the president would not be talking today. Nobody knew that. But it has happened. Maybe the president might also change his mind. Nobody knew that someone like Waititu could be kicked out like a dog, the way it has happened to him. Nobody knew that Mike Sonko, despite doing all this for this government, could be in the cult today. Nobody knew all those. So basically, politics is dynamic and the president might change his mind. But as things stand today, I want to believe that President Uhuru Kenyatta is strategically and cleverly grooming Peter Munya to succeed him. I don't know what you think. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, just like I said, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, the best thing you can do is to hit the subscribe button now. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel would not be where it is today. Thank you guys, and may you have a good day.